Teresa here. Thank you for joining me in this video as we strive to transform our children one step at a time. So today we're going to talk about the importance of oxygen. Again, going back to the most fundamentals, oxygen, the air that we breathe. There's different reasons why we might be lacking oxygen. One of the reasons why inside our mitochondria, which is in every cell that produces energy, the mitochondria can fill up with lactic acid, thus enabling the oxygen to be inside or to be able to be utilized. We're going to look at the next video on how light can help with that situation. So what are some of the ways that we can improve oxygen? We can first improve our fresh air circulation. If we find that we are indoors too much, then we get this stagnant air, and so we need fresh air from outside. So opening the windows, even in the winter time a little bit, getting outside, being in the fresh air, walking in nature, walking around the plants and the trees and the mountains. So just being in nature, just getting that fresh air inside. Also with exercise. So yes, we need aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise. So exercise where we are focusing on developing our cardiovascular, that will help get us oxygen, but also our inner vessels need oxygen, and those inner vessels are opened with slow movement, such as Tai Chi, mindfulness, meditation. A lot of that is what's opening the most interior vessels so that the oxygen can go through them, because just with the exercise, it's kind of going more to the larger exterior vessels. So both are needed. So a balance between, let's say if you were able to do Tai Chi or some kind of slow movement, and also getting outdoors and going for a jog or for a run or for a walk or a bike ride. Eating iron-rich foods is also a really good source of getting oxygen. So deep breathing helps reduce our stress. It helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. We have two nervous systems, parasympathetic, which is the rest, calming, digest, repair, and we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, running away. So we need to be in balance of both, but deep breathing helps us pull out that parasympathetic nervous system. So that's why they say if you are in a state of kind of like fight or flight, you're under stress, so you're more aroused this way, you really want to try to activate the parasympathetic system to decrease that state of stress. So just stopping, that's why you've heard probably for many years, just stop, count to 10, take deep breaths. So we're going to talk about the best way to breathe. When you breathe, you want to breathe in your nose. You can breathe out your mouth. When you breathe in, the best kind of rule of thumb is to breathe in for a count of 4. Hold your breath for about 6 seconds, and then breathe out on the count, for a count of 8. You always want to exhale when you're doing this intentionally twice as long as your inhale. So ready? Okay, one more time. We're going to inhale for 4. Okay, so taking in some really deep breaths. Also, when you're breathing out, the one thing you need to notice is your belly coming out or is your diaphragm going up. So sometimes in the beginning, especially if we're under that stress or fight or flight, our diaphragms are tight, so the muscles tighten, so it actually comes up. But we want to get it to relax. So sometimes, even for me, I notice that it takes me a couple deep breaths until my stomach starts to expand. So you want to make sure that when you're doing a deep breath, you're not going like this, like this. You want your deep breath, you want that belly to come out. So if you have children, one way to play this game is when they're laying down to put a little stuffed animal on their belly, and they have to try to make that animal go up and down. Another thing that you can do for children because they have a hard time being still, as we know. So make a game where they have to stare at something. So you can put something on the wall, or just have them pick something where they have to stare at it, and they have to stare at it just being quiet for as long as they can. And that might be 5 seconds. But you want to, over time, if you make a game out of it, then the next time they want to try to get to 6 or to 10. So make goals so over time they can be still up to, let's say 2 minutes. Because if they have, a lot of times their brains don't know how to be still. So we have to try to teach their brain, train their brain how to be still. Now, if you're a little bit older, children are going to have trouble doing this. But when you are being still, try to be very aware of the emotions that you have, especially if there's any negative emotion. So when you're breathing out and you're doing that deep breathing, breathe out consciously that negative emotion that you are holding. And something that we can add to that helps the parasympathetic system and that relaxation is in brain gym they call them hookups. So what we do is we take our hands, we put them upside down, we cross our hands and go under. And then our legs, mine are already crossed, so we cross our legs like, down, or you can stay sitting across. And then you can do your deep breathing in this position. Breathe in our nose. Hold it. And breathe out our mouth. And then another thing that we can do is we can hold our forehead with our fingertips. And if you actually start to notice, if you hold very gently, you can start to notice a pulsing. And if you can notice an even pulsing on both sides in between your fingertips and your head, you're just kind of bringing that blood flow up to your brain. Because when we're upset and we're under stress, we actually cut the blood flow to the front of the brain. So we're breathing, and we're holding our frontal lobe, and we're actually bringing the blood flow back into our brain, in the front part of our brain, the rational and the thinking part of our brain. This part of our brain is our reactionary part of the brain. So if you find that you're being impulsive in reaction, means you're reacting and you're working out of the brain stem versus the frontal lobe. And then another thing that helps center us is, you may be familiar that we have meridians. Based on Chinese medicine, we have 12 meridians. Well, we have more than that, but we have 12 basic meridians. So we have one that goes from here to here, and then one that goes from right on top of our mouth all the way down the back to our tailbone. So if you hold your tailbone and hold just gently the points right above on your lip. You can do this standing or laying down or sitting down. You're putting your hands on the endpoints of that meridian, and you're helping to balance it. You can switch hands because we have different polarities on our hands. Our right hand is positive and our left hand is negative. And then we can do the same with, this was the governing meridian, we can do the same with the central meridian. I just tell the kids to put their hands under their belly button, but it actually goes all the way down to the end. You can do the same thing by putting magnets at the two ends, or you can trace it. This meridian goes up, so you can trace it a couple times. You don't have to be touching the body, you can just trace the energy. You can affect the energy about 2 inches away from it. And the back, it's a little bit trickier, so I kind of go up the back and I meet it with the other hand and come down. And I do that a couple times. But it's just easier just to hold it and then to switch. And then to hold this one and to switch. So this one isn't really about oxygen so much, but it's about stimulating that parasympathetic system, calming the system down, and when our system is calmed down, our body is able to utilize the oxygen much more efficiently. We get that blood flowing to the brain and get the blood flowing to the organs that need it. All right, thank you for joining me on this episode, as we strive to transform children one step at a time.